Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Monday, October 2nd.
I don't believe in banning any books.
This week is Banned Books Week, which aims to celebrate the freedom to read and raise awareness about current and historical attempts to censor books in libraries and schools. Amy Cherry has more on our top story.
Courtney Vandebunty, a former candidate for the Flagler County School Board who co-hosts the podcast Moms into Literary Freedom, talks about the book that started the book ban discussion in Flagler County.
All Boys Aren't Blue is a great example of a book that has been banned because it was mislabeled as pornographic. It didn't have scenes that elicited sexual feelings because it was a memoir of a person's experience. If you read the whole book, there are many instances in the book where the author discusses, trigger warnings and sexual assault and what to do if you're a victim of sexual assault. So if anything, this book is a tool for kids and adults to navigate the waters of sexual assault.
Though she's not involved in the effort, she reacts to a push by some to ban the Bible.
That's probably a symbolic move to sort of remind people that, hey, the Bible has some, borderline. You could argue it's pornographic. All Boys Aren't Blue does not elicit sexual feelings, but there are some verses in the Bible that are actually, meant to elicit sexual feelings, and that shouldn't, following that logic, it shouldn't be available, but people are just trying to kind of prove a point that where do you draw the line?
This year's theme for Banned Books Week is Let Freedom Read, and Vandebunty has a message for book banners.
Read the book in its entirety and not just the 3 or 4 lines that they think is too graphic, because context is so important. A 12-year-old who's reading a book featuring a gay character, it's not going to turn the 12-year-old gay. The same logic goes for if you're an 8-year-old reading a book about frogs, it's not going to turn you into a frog. It's just going to teach you about different things in the world.
Banned Books Week runs from October 1st through the 7th. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Amy Cherry.
This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Fever Toyota, US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you. Flagler County has 3 new graduates from the Northeast Florida Regional Council Leadership Academy.
Flagler County Commissioner David Sullivan, Deputy County Administrator Jorge Salinas, and Emergency Management Director Jonathan Lord were among the 13-member 2023 graduating class of the Northeast Florida Regional Council Leadership Academy that also included Palm Coast Chief of Staff Jason De Lorenzo. Emergency Management Director Jonathan Lord elaborates.
The Academy is really about bringing leaders from around the region together to discuss common issues within the region. And it gives a chance to get exposed to each of the different counties and the unique issues within each county, from economic to social issues to even emergency preparedness and disaster issues.
It was the 17th graduating class. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
If you're having thoughts of suicide, reaching out is the first step to safety. A mental health professional can help.
Over the years, Flagler County has had one of the highest suicide rates in the state. Liz Ryan spoke to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention of North Florida, Stephanie Shaughnessy.
Suicide is a tragedy that's touched far too many people's lives. Stephanie told me there's no one risk factor for suicide.
If they've had previous suicide attempts, if you have a family history of suicide, divorce, death, depression, substance abuse problem, bipolar disorder, different things.
What can those with a loved one going through a crisis watch for?
Giving personal possessions away. Do they have access to firearms, drugs?
Suicide is more common than some people may think. Here in Florida,
Third leading cause of death for people ages 10 to 24. Second leading cause of death for people ages 25 to 34. And the 4th leading cause of death for 35 to 44.
if you're feeling hopeless, please reach out for help.
Any kind of emergency, definitely don't hesitate to dial 911. We have plenty of resources on our page. You can contact our local chapter, find a support or bereavement group. If you're a survivor or someone who's struggling, there's also resources listed as well.
That website is afsp.org. If you're in crisis and need help now, call or text the Suicide Lifeline at 988. It's simple, just 988. For Flagler's Local News, I'm Liz Ryan.
It may not feel like it yet, but it's time to start thinking about those in need during the holidays.
Dottie Coletta is the treasurer of Grace Community Food Pantry. She said on a recent episode of Flagler Health Matters that it's time to talk about Team Feed Flagler. to get those who need it a home-cooked meal for Thanksgiving.
So this is our 15th annual Team Feed Flagler. 15 years we've been doing this.
Coletta said this year they expect to outdo last year's numbers.
Last year, we gave food to 1,205 families, and we shared a hot meal with 915 residents on Thanksgiving or the day before.
Dottie Coletta said they expect to do more than that this year. You can listen to Flagler Health Matters on WNZF Saturday mornings at 11:30 or anytime on the Flagler radio app. Tomorrow, getting the info out about Team Feed Flagler so that nobody goes without a Thanksgiving meal. From the WNZF newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.
And now, Mike Licio with your WNZF local sports update.
It was a tough night in Football County Friday. On WNZF, Flagler Palm Coast hosted number 10 Ponte Vedra at Sal Campanella Stadium. The Bulldogs were without the area's leading rusher Marcus Mitchell and defensive lineman Ethan LaPepa and Travell Adams, among others, due to injury. The Sharks took the ball and capped a 9-play 80-yard drive with a Benjamin Burke 5-yard touchdown pass to Landon Okla. On the next possession, Burke called his own number.
Burke steps up now, he's going to keep it himself and has a whole lot of room. He's going to take it all the way to the house.
After one, the Sharks led 14-0. Running back Brian Case punched it in from the one to give Ponte Vedra a 21-0 advantage at the half. An Evan Redmond field goal made it 24-0 after 3. Early in the fourth, the Sharks put the game out of reach.
Case gets it up the middle, and it's a touchdown for Ponte Vedra.
Case's second touchdown of the game made it 31-0. Bulldogs dropped to 2-3 on the year. Coach Daniel Fish.
I'm so proud of our kids. I love that they kept fighting. We're just going to bounce back and give another run at it next week against another really good football team.
They play 4-1 O'Galley in Melbourne Friday. The Matanzas Pirates made the trip to Brumley Stadium to take on the alma mater, number 2 St. Augustine. Landon Grover gave the Pirates a 3-0 lead on the opening drive. Then Yellow Jacket backup quarterback Dylan Cook threw 4 touchdown passes as St. Augustine scored 49 unanswered before Cole Hash scored the lone Flagler County touchdown of the night. Jackets win 49-9. The Pirates are at Deltona for a makeup game tonight. They are off Friday. Our next broadcast will be October 13th when they host Gainesville. FPC Volleyball was at a tournament this weekend, going 2-1. They are home for senior night against First Baptist, 6:30 in the frozen tundra of the Anderson Gym. Cross country, Run Matanzas Invitational. The host Pirates finished second in the girls' race, Sierra Howard in the top 10. Fourth place for the boys, top 10 for Blaine Vogel. FPC weightlifter Leland Turner won the AAU State Championship this weekend. WNZF is your home for local sports, with updates Mondays and Fridays. From the sports desk, I'm Mike Licio.